So I woke up planning to skip Lighter, but I was thinking about how many of you have been asking to see him in action, so I figured, what the heck? Zero pity, I'll throw 50 pulls his way and whatever happens, happens. But then...
Anyone up for challenging me?
And now I kind of feel obligated to do this.
Once the hour is too late,
Take this.
I'm unstoppable!
So yeah, Lighter is indeed that guy. He is so cool. They really cooked with the attention to detail in his moveset. You actually have to bob and weave with dodge cancels for his best juggles to work. It's so sick. As cool as he is though, it's tragic that 90% of players are gonna completely ignore his best features. Hi, hello, Hecky G everyone, call me Casual, and welcome back to the only Hoyo game not terrified to have a male character with real muscles. Lighter is here and he is perfection. I've been yapping since day one about how they keep putting fighting game characters in ZZZ, and he is the most blatant example yet. Lighter is literally just K, they ain't even being coy about it. They're both fire users who fight with their fist-like gauntlet things on their right arm. Even personality-wise, they have the same energy. Like, just look at this.
元気そうじゃねえか。だから心配する必要なんてねえっつったんだよ。
That's just alternate reality Lighter. Tell me I'm wrong, and I slap the shit out of you in Minecraft, because you'd be lying. Something I've really appreciated about Zenless Zone Zero, not just as a gacha game, but as a game in general, is how the dev team is clearly going above and beyond when it comes to style. And Lighter in particular is insane. He's got two entirely unique basic attack strings, and the second one, as far as I can tell, this is just for flair. It's just because it's stylish. I don't think this is super useful. It's just cool. And I love that. And thanks to little details like that, Lighter has so much potential for skill expression, because if you noticed in the intro combo mat, you can shift his combos like half a dozen different ways to match the situation at hand. It's crazy. In fact, it's day one, so consider this a first impressions, don't hold me to this, but I think he may be the most technical character in the game when it comes to combos. I mentioned it was tragic though, because the way you're supposed to play Lighter, you're never gonna see more than a fraction of his potential. You see, Lighter's practical game plan, if you're not familiar, is to mainly keep him off field, bring him in briefly whenever his morale meter is full, to burn through it as quickly as possible for the sake of his buffs, debuffs, and stun before switching him back out. In fact, an optimal Lighter combo is this simple. And that's the long version. The short one is even simpler. Lighter is a lot like Coleta. He's primarily an off-field stun unit that will work really well with characters that want a lot of field time, which makes a lot of sense considering his current best partners are Ellen in Soldier 11, potentially Miyabi as well when she drops, and it's really cool that we have a character like Lighter that can fill that kind of niche. But what I think is so much cooler is how much work the dev team put in the parts of his moveset that they must have been fully aware the vast majority of gamers will rarely, if ever, touch. I mentioned that second basic attack moveset was kind of useless. That's because it only does physical instead of fire damage, and as Lighter isn't a damage dealer in the first place, I almost guarantee you most players are gonna look at this and say, ew, why would I ever touch that? But if you've been around, you know I love diving into those little nitty-gritty details. So today, I'm just here to showcase a little bit of what Lighter is capable of when you stop min-maxing and start actually playing the game. However, this isn't quite a full combo guide since Lighter is a bit absurd, and just like any KOF character, I'm gonna need a bit more time to fully wrap my head around the little tricks that make him tick, but I do want to give you a couple of tips about his third special attack, his quick assist, his infinite, and maybe one or two other things. As always, if you like what you see, maybe hit that button. I think you know the one. And if you want to see more, subscribe and join the Filthy Casual crew. I mean, I'm here to shine a light on easily overlooked aspects of the games we all love, and I'd love to make even more videos just like this one for all of you, and your support is unironically what makes that possible. So thank you, everyone, and massive thank you to the community for helping me reach 3,000 subscribers. That's wild, and I am more motivated than ever, so stay tuned, and without further ado, let's get into it. Again, this isn't a full combo guide, we're just here for a brief chat, but if you're looking to fully master Lighter's moveset, I do have a couple of suggestions, including a few that could be very helpful, even if you're not trying to juggle enemies. First of all, it does seem like Hoyo was listening when we told them Chingy was giving us all carpal tunnel, so instead of mashing with Lighter, we just have to hold down the basic attack button to use his combos. And in standard play, that's likely exactly what you want to do, because his moveset can feel a little awkward otherwise if you're trying to use him optimally. Now, part of the reason I mention this though is because it might trip a couple of people up, because if you're using manual mode, holding down an attack input like that will prevent you from stunning the enemy. And, thankfully that's not the biggest deal in the world for Lighter, because he reaches his basic attack 5, this flurry of punches so quickly. Just be careful to actually release the button when the combo ends so you don't finish it only to watch that meter ticking down in the background. Now, what's also worth noting is Lighter actually has 3 EX special attacks. There's the standard uppercut, which can be followed by a ground slam if you press the button again, but on top of that, if you're mid-basic combo or just started one, what you can do is dash cancel out of it and then press the EX special button, which will give him this empowered jab instead of the uppercut, and this actually allows him to skip to his 5th basic attack. Whereas on the other hand, his other specials only allow him to skip to his 4th basic attack. I don't know how often people will be using this, but especially if your Lighter is spending extra time on field, this is really good to keep in your back pocket for all the time you can save. Now, getting into some of the more advanced tech, let's talk about Lighter's alternate moveset. You see, if you press and hold any directional input while using his basic attack string before basic 4, he'll actually shift into this really cool flurry of punches and kicks. Unfortunately, these all deal physical damage, so they are far from ideal, but they are cool, and where they may wind up being like a bit useful, just a little bit, for those of you who want to keep Lighter on field, is when it comes to energy generation without wasting morale. Because as long as you stick to this moveset, Lighter will never transition into his morale-enhanced BA4 and 5, and since the attacks are so quick, the energy generation certainly isn't bad. Like, again, I don't know how often people are going to be using this, especially in practical scenarios, but maybe if your morale is hovering around 80 and you want to push it to 100 instead of automatically using it, like, this could be helpful? I don't know, who knows? But regardless, the style of all this is very much appreciated. And in some ways, that secondary moveset does feel kind of targeted at those of us who like to get a bit fancier with our combo tech, because if you try to use Lighter's standard string ending in BA5, enemies will always fall out of any attempt at a combo. With the alternate moveset though, as long as you're bobbing and weaving with precision, you can maintain a juggle likely indefinitely. Again, I've got to spend a bit more time with Lighter to truly understand all the nuance here, but the TLDR is certain attacks in this string are guaranteed to send an enemy back to the ground, while others are perfect for keeping them in the air. You've got to dash cancel out of the former and into the latter, otherwise the enemy will drop. The big one to keep an eye out for is this downward punch immediately before Lighter's diagonal kick. If you can get used to the timing for canceling into the kick, the rest should be fairly easy. I mean, if you're really precise, you can cancel after the punch, but the easier way to do this is to cancel out of the punch entirely, if that makes sense. But you know what's really weird? The same directional input that you use for this alternate combo string is actually how you set up this loop. If you hold the directional input after BA4, then Lighter will enter this cycle of punches and kicks until he fills his morale meter, and then he'll empty it automatically. And I say it's weird because this is another one of those things that's really cool, but I just can't see, like, why is this here? Like, maybe I'm just dumb, that's very possible, but I can't think of a good reason you wouldn't want to just continue straight to BA5 outside of style. And honestly, as a result, it does kind of feel like this is another thing that's here simply because it's cool, and the devs just wanted Lighter to have a mini infinite in his kit. But maybe I'm reading into it too much, who knows? It is just kind of really crazy how many layers Lighter has for a primarily off-field unit that the vast majority of players are going to see for like 5 seconds at a time and then get him back off field as quickly as possible. And I can't say it enough, I love that the ZZZ devs are including this kind of detail seemingly solely for the sake of style, because these are some very intelligent people, I would say. Yeah, I'm sure they're fully aware that most of their player base is going to ignore most of Lighter's moveset because it's not optimal and it doesn't even necessarily support anything about his playstyle directly. But I think inclusions like these can be important for games because they are a big part of setting the tone. And at least for me personally, the fact that every single character in this game has tons of fun tech to uncover outside of just what makes them effective makes me excited to spend time with each and every one of them. I mean, otherwise it would be really easy for me to write off a character like Lighter because I don't need his stun-focused playstyle for the kind of account I'm working on right now. And all of that extra potential he has hidden under the hood really makes me want to spin up a Lighter Soldier 11 team. And hell, I'm even excited to maybe start playing Ellen again for the first time in a long time. But like, or at least I would be if I could actually use Lighter, but unfortunately it is still 2024 and ZZZ is still a gacha game, and all of the fun time gating means it's going to be quite literally months before I have the spare resources to build him. So in the interest of not spending the next 20 minutes grumbling about how grumpy that makes me, let's wrap up. Thanks for joining me for a very quick look at everyone's new favorite husband, but stay tuned because that Yanagi video is coming soon, and I've got some crazy tech to share with you, like how to use her parry to trigger quick assist. She is the best character in the game and it is not even vaguely close, and I cannot wait to share some of what she's got going on, so I'm gonna get back to my editing. Cheers everyone, and once again, thanks for joining me today.